Welcome to another episode of Quick Spin by Autoweek, the podcast where we dive into the essence of the automobile. Today, we're joined by Robin Warner from the seat of a Mercedes-AMG GT R. You can take a look at that car on our Instagram page right now. That's at Autoweek USA. While you're there, make sure to drop a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want to hear about in the future. We're going to dive right into Robin talking about this AMG GTR right after we pay the bills. Video chats with racing icons, car designers, Michelin star chefs, and movie directors? You bet your Zoom. Introducing R&T, a new automotive lifestyle brand by Road & Track. Join today and receive the Collector's Edition magazine, access to events, perks, promotions, and so much more. To join the club and live the drive, visit roadandtrack.com/join. That's ROADANDTRACK.com/JOIN. And Mr. Warner, tell me about this Mercedes-AMG GT R. Robin, I think we have a bad connection. I couldn't hear you actually say anything over the engine of that car. Now, can you tell me about this GTR?
I think it's just. I feel like I explained it thoroughly just then. You didn't. What do you need to hear?
I think I got the brass tacks of it, but you might need to dive a little deeper.
I feel like you just weren't listening. Did you hear that thing on startup? It is the most visceral experience you can have in a road legal car. It's a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 that makes 577 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque, and it's long and low and wide, and you feel like you're sitting on the back axle. You feel like the hood is 10 feet long, and you're just looking at this thing and you just immediately feel special for being around it. It's cool.
It is extremely cool. Now, Robin, this is a quick spin. So you naturally gave us a little walk around of the AMG GTR, which I think we might as well jump right into.
I am currently feasting my eyes on a 2020 Mercedes-AMG GT R. It is super low. It is super wide. It is super loud. And it's intense and growly and so extremely satisfying to look at. First of all, this is like old school cross-plane V8 grumble, just idling. You swear that it's 4-barrel Holley carbs, not some modern direct injected fuel injection system. But I just love looking at this thing. It's got a carbon fiber roof. It's got a big carbon fiber spoiler rear wing. It's got this like faux diffuser, but probably somewhat functional, so I'm not so sure it's too faux. The exhaust is in the center, and this particular car is a paint called Green Hell Magno, and unlike the C63S that I talked about a while ago, I now know what Magno means. It's basically like their way of saying matte paint. So it's this like neon green matte paint, and Green Hell, of course, is a slang term for the Nordschleife in Germany. So it's perfectly fitting. But this car has 577 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. It's the same, not exactly, of course, but the same twin-turbo 4-liter V8 that AMG puts a lot of their products, but this one's wound way up, and I am extremely excited to get in the car and drive it some. You can't You can't do much better than this. You really can't. I mean, all I need to do is have you listen to this again.
Mr. Warner, I'm never going to judge anyone for buying an AMG GTR, but I will judge them slightly if they don't drop the admittedly hefty price tag. It's like 10 grand for the Green Hell Magno, because that color is perfect on the GTR. It is one of the most fitting colors I've ever seen on a car in my life.
Look, man, if you have 165 grand to spend on a car, you have 175 grand to spend on a car. So even though the paint is $9,900, I agree with you. It just looks stunning, and it gets so much attention. In this line of work, I've been very lucky to drive very high-end cars, including super sports cars from Italy and other places. And I think the Mercedes got more attention than any of them. And it's the color. It really stands out. And I mean, the color accentuates such a beautiful classic shape that those two things, it's precious to look at. And I absolutely love it. And I do actually want to do one correction. It is not a central exhaust. It is 3 exhausts, 2 on either side and 1 in the center. Just want to make sure that is factually known.
The classic 3 exhaust. But no, real fast, so...
For the 3 banks.
For the 3 banks. The AMG GTR is obviously a performance variant of the fantastic AMG GT, which, let's just make this very clear, it's on the short list of one of the prettiest cars in production today. Would you agree?
Absolutely. To me, it really just evokes this great modern version of those 1930s era Grand Tourers, where you just get that long, gorgeous hood and then small cabin and then like a real short punctuated trunk and this real long silhouette. The modern part of it is this thing super low to the ground. There's really very little overhang front and rear, so it's got this nice long wheelbase and everything just kind of wraps around and comes together really nicely. It's seriously one of the prettiest cars out there.
And I bet it's also, pretty fun to drive, and we are going to jump to that right about now.
Yeah, this is not a slow car. The Mercedes-AMG GT R. It is 577 horsepower, 4-liter V8 that just doesn't take much to open up and get you into trouble with the speed limit authority of the local area. It's got a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, which, as you heard, rips off shifts about as quickly as you can imagine. It's got that fantastic rumbly exhaust that just roars. It goes past 7,000 RPM before hitting a fuel cutoff and shifting, and it's just so visceral and fantastic. So that is a strength of this car, no doubt. You are sitting in this cockpit that's very purposeful and serious and shockingly adjustable. I have adjustments, I have buttons everywhere, and there's a lot of redundancy, so I can change the sound of the exhaust. This is the louder exhaust. That's the quieter exhaust. There's the louder exhaust again. You can't really tell too much right now because I'm not heavy on the throttle as I'm speaking to you, but then I can also shift between comfort, sport plus, race, individual, slippery, all drive modes. I can shift between between drive and manual shifting. I can choose the suspension. I can choose whether I want the traction control on or off. And then, even there, I have a dial of how much traction control I want, which I find hilarious. And I'm still not done. I have the loud exhaust and everything like that. I can turn off automatic start and all these kinds of things, and I can do that from the steering wheel. I can do that from the center console. I can do that from the infotainment screen. So I have lots of options to adjust this car. But I also have a faux suede flat bottom steering wheel. I have this super cool carbon fiber trim for the HVAC vents, and I have this nice little widescreen infotainment screen to use, and I have this beautiful view of this long hood in that Magno green hell paint that I talked about earlier and the hood itself has these nice vents in them to see. So it's got this like bulge in the center because there's so much muscle there and you can't hide it all in. So it's got to have this bulge. You can't go wrong. The steering wheel, this is a nice little detail, has that kind of like stripe at the top to know where the center of the steering wheel is. That's a nice little racing nod to this car. And it's just an absolute pleasure to drive. It's not this handling purist kind of machine like a 911 would be. And it's not a muscle car like, say, a Hellcat. But it's this like super cool, muscly, Grand Toury kind of thing. And it's awfully stiff. So it's definitely an agile handler. It's just you have to muscle it in to those feelings of handling more so than you would, say, a 911 or like a Lotus or something like that. It is an absolute blast to drive, though. And I think that's what the key is. You get just so much satisfaction about rumbling around in this thing, and you get lots of attention. And the vast majority of the attention is positive. People love this thing. They love looking at it. They love hearing it. And I'm having a hard time arguing with them because it's just a lot of fun. It's a unique experience. And I think that is the hardest thing to pull off and the greatest thing that Mercedes did pull off with this car.
If there's a young person in your life who's really into cars, give them the gift of R&T Crew, the ultimate magazine and subscription box for car-loving kids from Road and Track. Perfect for ages 6 and up, each box includes cool accessories, fun activities, and a magazine chock full of facts, stories, games, and more. Sign up now and receive the all-new top secret issue. Just head to rtcrew.com. That's rtcrew.com. And I know we've talked a lot about this car already, and with the quick spin, we always have to get to the essence of the automobile. And this AMG GTR does so much. Robin, what is its essence?
Cars exist for different reasons, and this one is not to be the end-all be-all for handling. It's not to be a drag racer. It's not to have that like purist race car driving feel of like the 911 I mentioned earlier, or a Lotus or something like that. This car is just like this weird mashup combination of all of those things together that just fulfills all 5 senses like over the top with positive reinforced joy. So you get this crazy over the top look, this crazy over the top sound. It's super stiff. So it feels very race car driver like. It's got super fast steering and very responsive suspension. So it turns in extremely quickly. So it feels super agile, and it is agile. It's got a lot of grip, and the tactile feeling on your hands to the wheel and what your hindside feels over the road. All of it is just, there's just so much of everything. So this car is like the experience generator that just reinforces why you love cars in general. And the best part about it, I think, is that because it's so over the top and loud about it, it brings everyone along for the ride, bystanders from all sorts. I had people give me the thumbs up on the interstate. I had people wave at me on the 2-lane roads. I had people come up and talk to me about it when the car was parked, socially distanced. And I started the car up for a couple people. I mean, it just kind of spreads that joy to everyone. So this thing is the positive experience generator.
I have positively experienced this, and I agree. It is such a fun car. But I think we're out of time for today. Don't forget to head over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the show. Drop us a 5-star review. Let us know how we're doing. Also, feel free to drop us a note and let us know what you want to hear in the future. We're always open for suggestions, and we love driving cars. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I know you're listening out there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to this, and make sure to get it fed directly to you. And most of all, thank you so much for listening. Without your listenership, we wouldn't be doing this.